Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into absolutely one of the most fascinating, completely unprecedented comeback stories in modern world football. We're talking about a massive, historic club pulling itself out of one of its darkest periods ever and rebuilding into a force that could literally shape the future of the sport. We're looking at Barcelona's Phoenix rebuild. Okay, let's dive into this. The ultimate question driving our analysis today is pretty simple. Why could Barcelona completely dominate football for the next 10 years? Now, at first glance, you might just think, well, they have incredible young players and a legendary academy, right? But the material we're unpacking today reveals a story that goes way, way deeper than just some talented teenagers or a famous badge. Section 1. The end of an era. You know, every single football dynasty eventually ends. For years, Barcelona was enjoying this unbelievable golden era. But as those legendary players started to age, the club kind of panicked. They dropped just enormous amounts of money on these expensive transfers that completely failed to deliver. It was almost like they were competing to see how fast they could build this suffocating mountain of debt. And then we hit 2021, the departure of Lionel Messi. Man, that was an absolute emotional gut punch for millions of fans who genuinely believed years of mediocrity were just inescapable at that point. Section 2. Return to La Masia. So while the rest of the football world was out there just swiping credit cards for superstars, Barcelona quietly turned back to their roots. This La Masia philosophy, it isn't just a youth academy. It's a very specific football identity. It's totally built on controlling matches through possession, super intelligent movement, and just an absolute trust in youth. This is the exact same system that previously shaped legends like Xavi, Iniesta, and Messi. Players who didn't just win trophies, they literally changed the way global football was played. And you know what? The club decided to trust that system again. Section 3. The new golden generation. We really aren't just talking about a one-player project here. Think about this emerging core: Lamine Yamal, Pedri, Gavi, Alejandro Balde, Pau Cubarsí, Fermin Lopez. This is an entire emerging generation. It's actually wild when you stop to realize you have actual teenagers effectively carrying the weight of a billion-dollar club right on their shoulders. They have this incredibly rare age profile, which basically means they could stay together for years and years, growing more and more lethal every single season. And perhaps the absolute brightest symbol of this new era is Lamine Yamal. His confidence, his creativity, balance, and vision. I mean, they've already drawn comparisons with some of football's absolute greatest talents. Just breaking into the first team at his age is extraordinary. But doing it consistently against Europe's biggest clubs, there's really no way to overstate how rare that is. Now, of course, we have to manage expectations here. Nobody can guarantee he'll be the greatest in history. But his potential, it's just undeniable. But the story doesn't just end with Yamal. Consider their midfield duo, and this brilliantly illustrates how two completely contrasting characters can perfectly complement each other. On one side, you have Pedri. He brings this exceptional intelligence, composure, and incredibly mature passing. He essentially dictates the rhythm of the game. Then, on the other side, you've got Gavi, bringing this relentless energy, raw aggression, leadership, and pure passion. It's two completely different styles that just click together flawlessly. So why do they click so well? Well, it comes down to a shared football language. Because they are academy graduates, they instinctively understand each other's positional movements. They know exactly how to receive the ball under intense pressure and create passing angles, all because they've spent years, literally years, learning the exact same principles. That kind of chemistry translates to these split-second decisions on the pitch that, frankly, you simply cannot buy in a transfer window. Section 4. Tactical and financial evolution. You see, they knew they couldn't just blindly repeat the past. Today's game is faster, it's fiercely aggressive, so they evolved. They retained their intelligent positioning, sure, but they added serious defensive intensity, much quicker transitions, and they started utilizing direct attacks when necessary. Essentially, they adapted their traditional, patient ball control philosophy to meet the immense physical demands of the modern elite game. And what's brilliant is that this tactical shift pairs perfectly with their new financial reality. Cultivating internal talent leads to reduced transfer costs, it preserves the club's identity, and allows for highly sustainable planning. Honestly, this equation is like the holy grail for a modern club. It's a blueprint that could disrupt modern sports economics entirely. They learned a very painful lesson from a decade of reckless spending, and now they are enforcing incredible financial discipline. Which brings us to a massive, massive number: 10. If the club manages their contracts wisely and actually remains financially stable, keeping this exceptionally young core together could yield up to a decade, 10 full years of unmatched chemistry and stability, 10 years of these exact same players developing right alongside one another. To put that into perspective, that is the exact kind of stability that separates the good teams from the legendary ones. Section 5. Obstacles to dominance. So the crucial point is that the external and internal pressures threatening their rise are absolutely massive. First off, you've got fierce competition from giants like Real Madrid, Premier League clubs, PSG, and Bayern Munich. Second is the physical toll. Elite football is exhausting, and we've already seen injuries and heavy workloads sideline these young stars. And finally, the mental toll. I mean, wearing that Barcelona shirt means millions of people are scrutinizing your every single move. And this is exactly why having experienced leaders in the dressing room is absolutely vital. Veterans provide that necessary balance and guidance. They know how to navigate immense pressure in major finals, and they absorb that weight so the youth have the freedom to just go out there and express themselves fearlessly, without being completely crushed by expectations. Now, perhaps the most surprising insight from our source material is this. Their greatest strength right now is actually patience. Instead of demanding immediate perfection, the club has accepted that real development takes time. Accepting mistakes, dealing with inconsistent form, grinding through difficult matches, these aren't seen as failures anymore. They're a calculated, essential part of their long-term development strategy. Every setback is just treated as another lesson. So if they actually pull this off, what's the ultimate legacy? It all comes down to trusting academy players, building a truly long-term identity, and successfully competing against massive, endless transfer budgets. Succeeding this way wouldn't just add a few more trophies to a cabinet. It would literally inspire a whole new generation of clubs globally to realize that you don't always have to just buy success to achieve greatness. Which brings us right back to where we started in this explainer. Could this team actually dominate football for the next 10 years? Well, the foundation is absolutely there. The talent is undeniable, and the core philosophy has been meticulously restored. We might not just be looking at another rebuilding project here. We might actually be watching football history being written in real time. I'll leave you to ponder that one. Thanks so much for joining me to explore this incredible story, and keep your eyes on the pitch.